Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Marcus Aurelius, and this is Starbound with the Frackin Universe mod, along with some other smaller mods, which I will link to down below so you can tell all the mods I'm using, but mostly Frackin Universe. And this is the second episode of me showing off my NovaKid base, which I created in order to store all of the new Frackin Universe workshops. So we've been going over them, so if you didn't see the previous episode, check it out, because that's where I start off, talking about the bee industry and also a lot of the new extractors and workshops, and we're going to continue along that. So here's the basic wooden centrifuge. I never use this anymore because obviously I have the better ones downstairs, but this is what you start out with. And these are all the different, well, this is all the honey related material. So for example, I've got different honeycombs from each type of beehive. I mentioned in the last episode that really the minor bees at a certain point are the only ones you really want. For example, like I'm stocking up on floral honeycomb because the only thing you can extract from it is flower petals, which is cool. I mean, if you need flower petals, that's great, but I don't really need it. Or the red honeycomb, it just gives you red beeswax. So, you know, not that useful to me. I've got plenty of golden leaves, which I got from one of the type of honeycomb. Golden sand, which I got from the arid honeycomb. Maybe the golden leaves comes from the forest honeycomb. I have jungle honeycomb, which gives you, I believe, like plant matter, plant material. The dark honeycomb, which is the night, the bees that work at night. I'm not sure, I forget what that does. But anyways, this is the honey industry. And then here are all the new materials that you can make in this mod. Certainly not all of them, but many of them. So you have things like electromagnets, you have carbon, bug shells, advanced circuits, advanced plastic, advanced processors. You've got some algae for certain things. That's good for fertilizer, I think. You can, well, batteries are from the base game, but you have cinnabar. You get a lot of nutrient paste from extracting like foods and stuff. You obviously have, well, this is mascagnite. It's a source of ammonium. So you put this down in the extractor, and it will give you ammonium sulfate, which you could use for like fertilizer, I suppose. I got tons of oxygen, like way more oxygen than I know what to do with. Probably good to just sell some of it, but there's certain things that require oxygen. You'll notice that you get certain materials far more often than others. Oxygen you get a ton of, but also this stuff. Tissue cultures you get all the time. Nutrient paste you get all the time. So at some point they just kind of run out of usefulness and you have to go and sell them. Blood diamonds. Alright, so up here is some new storage areas. I'm storing my wood here. And this I'm storing like the blocks and whatnot necessary for me to make this base. Now here's an interesting thing here. This doesn't do anything different than all of the workshops that I have downstairs. In fact, it's worse than them at many things. But what's cool about this is if it's like the first workshop you build, it does a little bit of everything. Like it combines all the other workshops together. So for example, it makes blocks, it makes workshops, it makes clothes, it smelts ore. Like it does numerous things. It makes furniture. Actually, I don't know if it smelts ore. Might not smelt ore. But anything that you can build with this thing. And yes, it does. I'm sorry, it does smelt ore. You can make, yeah, copper bars. So it's just a one-stop workshop. And it's huge, so you're probably going to build yours outside. Instead of building a room for it. But to get you started in the game without having to build thousands of different workshops, you can build this guy and it will do pretty much everything you need up through the mid-game. This is the higher level of the smelter, the fission furnace, which has the mod gives you all kinds of new bars and alloys. You've got ultronium, you've got these are all base game. You've got advanced alloy, you've got thorium, protosite, uranium, penumbrite, zarcesium, plutonium, deuterium, which we saw, that's the water makes that, telebrium, carbon plating, neptunium, quietus, and lunari. So there's all these new different types of ore that a lot of it you can only find on the new planets. Here is just a regular bedroom for a regular person who lives here, Caro. Thank you, Caro. And then here's the special one I talked about in the last episode, the barman. Or in this case, it's actually a bar woman, but it's the only special NovaKid tenant, meaning it's the only like non-guard merchant or regular person. or cook, I guess. I don't have a cook in this base, but you can have a cook. But this is the only like special where you need special furniture. In this case, the saloon furniture set. And I'm putting books in here for right now, like new books. And I gave her a little balcony, which I think is pretty cool. So she can just go out there, sit on the chair, and kind of look at the world. All right, so here's where I store all of my outfits. And I did download that mod that allows you to have mannequins just for hats, because there's a lot more hats in the game. Now, the hats are just cosmetic and visual and fun, but the outfits are all useful in one way or another, and we're actually going to be switching back and forth through them in future episodes as I go to different worlds, because certain outfits work better on certain worlds. Like, for example, this outfit is a shielded Tier 3, so it gives you immunity to oxygen and gas. And what immunity to oxygen means is you can basically go out in space with this. You don't need oxygen. And it gives you plus 15% speed, and also gives you some electricity resistance. So if you need that, that's the armor for you. Whereas this armor here gives you shadow resistance of 21%, but it also gives you 25% damage if you're using your fist or an axe. And it also gives you, I think, it says thorns, which I guess cover you with thorns? I'm not sure. I don't really wear this one. So they all do different things. None of them are just cosmetic. This one gives you 4% critical chance plus 20% critical damage, the operative chest. And see how it says Tier 2 armor upgrades? So if I wanted to, I could take this armor down, take it to the machine, and if I have the right materials, I could upgrade it to the next level, to the Tier 3 level. The upgrades look substantially different than they start out with. Like, for example, this up here is called the Bone Metal Armor. Or Bone Steel, I'm sorry. But it used to be regular bone armor. So it used to look like kind of like a fictional Viking armor with the horns. But then when you upgrade it to this, you kind of look like a Cyberman. And it gives you fall damage reduction of 20%, 12% physical resistance. It also gives you additional 15% physical resistance in a sulfuric or mountainous biome. And finally, it gives you 15% addition to sword damage. Now, this one I've never used, but I think it'd be really cool for a starting player because it gives you immunity to slime, mud, ice, snow, and tar, and plus 120% mining laser damage. So if you're not going to be me and have the fully upgraded matter manipulator, but you're just starting off the game and you want to build a mining laser, this is basically what you would wear to go in a gentle world, like a normal world, to go down underground and do your mining with. Because not only does it improve the speed at which you mine, but it gives you immunity to all these things that cause you to slip around. So it just makes you more sure-footed, which I think is a really cool idea. Again, I didn't need it because I was already advanced enough in the game. So these are the armors that I actually wear. I trade off on these ones depending on where I'm going. Like, for example, if I need to go to a radioactive star, I'll take the Mutavisk armor, which gives you immunity to deadly radiation. And if I'm going underwater, I'll use the Kraken Cuirass, which is a Tier 4, so I've upgraded this actually numerous times. But it gives you a swim boost and immunity to acid, poison, bio-ooze, and you don't need air, so it's good for going underwater. It also gives you some unassociated resistances, plus critical, plus power, plus speed, as long as you're in an ocean biome. So depending on where you're going and what you're doing, every outfit is useful in one way or another, which I think is really cool. And I'll show you more of that in the future episodes where we actually go to planets where we need special outfits. So here's my farm area. With the gene extractor downstairs, you're probably wondering, why do you have a farm? Well, I set this farm up before I built the gene extractor, but also there's certain things that you just like to have as a farm. Like this particular tree, for example. This is one of the new additions to the mod. It's called a bracken tree. And it gives you some good stuff. It gives you, oh, look at all those bees I have. It gives you resin, which you use to make amber, but it also gives you silk. And I find it's very useful for silk production. I have cotton down here, because you always need cotton, especially for a lot of the new clothes and armors. I just have rice. I don't probably need that. I can probably get rid of that. And then these are all new additions to the game. The reason I have these is these are all things that I personally like to carry with me at all times when I'm exploring planets. Like miracle grass, for example. So let me put the seeds in there first. But miracle grass, let me find it. There it is. It gives you long-term weak regeneration. And it's not technically a food. If you're full, you can still eat it. And so it gives you long-term weak regeneration, which is awesome, so I keep that. I also keep these guys, which are sweet scoops. And they give you plus 20% max energy. I already have some, so I didn't really need to harvest that. Down here I just have regular sugar, regular wheat. So here's another cool kind of tree that's new to the mod. It's a Poe tree, and it gives you silicon, which is really useful. And plant fiber, again, for making medicine and whatnot. So there's certain requirements that require silicon. Also, the mod introduces ceiling sprinklers. This gives you a capriole flower, which gives you a 25% higher jump. So, see, all of a sudden I'm jumping a lot better now. Oh, by the way, these are the refrigerators, where I keep all kinds of stuff, both new and old. I like the new stuff better, though, because, again, it stacks. So you can put, like, instead of taking up 13 spaces like the Avis Mingo does, you can put all 13 of these in one space, which I really appreciate. Alright, so this is very important. This is very, very important. It's called the Mutavisc. And you need this because it gets you Mutavisc Silk, which you can use as a crafting material for numerous things, but the most important is the Mutavisc Armor, which is probably the first and easiest thing you're going to get that's going to allow you to go on a radiation star, visit planets around a radiated star. Although the mod does a pretty good job of making sure you don't really have to go to a radiated star, because a lot of the cool new planets are around what's called binary stars, which are okay. Anybody can go to them. And finally, this gives you the Hellcat nut, which is this thing here. It gives you 21% max health. So I carry all these different foods with me, and you'll see when I start exploring planets, I just eat them all in a row, and eventually I'll have like status effects out to here, where it gives me all these really cool bonuses and abilities. I was thinking of more farms, getting some more of the new items, but again, now I'm pretty much using the botanical, the workshop that gives you seeds and stuff. So that's mostly my farm. And then here's the outer wall on the other side, and I have a ton of trees. In case I need wood, I've just planted tree after tree after tree after tree of different kind and variety. I've really done some land alteration here to provide. So that is my base. That is my Novakid Ranch, Novakid Corral. I hope I gave you a pretty good idea of all of the new workshops and things you can do with the Frackin Universe mod. It is really expansive. I mean, it's so useful that the mod maker created that one workshop that allows you to, essentially all it does is it tells you how to make things with all the other workshops. That's really useful, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, hope you like my little saloon. In fact, I should probably put like a little sign up here that says saloon. It's one of the Novakid things you could build. And I'm hungry yet again. So this is actually going to be a short episode, but I'm just going to call it quits here. And next episode, we are going to go to some of the new planet types that the mod introduces, and I'll show you how cool they are. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Marcus Aurelius. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.